Hey now.
Hey now. Hey now. Wait, why can I hear myself? Why can I hear myself? Why is there?
Why indeed?
Well, this doesn't make sense. It's got me worried. Hold on one second. Test. No, it's you. You're doing something. Here, I'll find out for sure. Yep, I don't hear it anymore. Surprise. It's something with your surprise. Oh, Craig. Am I echoing for other people or just me? Let's see, everyone out there. Can you hear the echo? Whoops.
How about now?
No. I guess.
Is it good?
I can still hear me. For some reason. Oh wait. Nope. I can still hear it.
Still?
Oh, they can hear. They can hear the echo too. Greg.
Okay.
Bruh.
Okay.
So even Jasmine can hear it. Mark can hear it. Computerality. Terrible. Yes, we should just cancel Greg, ladies and gentlemen. Why? I say, why have the gods stuck me with Greg from Greg's Gadgets? Let's try it again. All right, here we go. Hello. Much better. What did you do?
I switched web browsers, so
okay.
That's it. Yeah, I was on Safari. I went to Chrome.
All right, well, there we go. Okay, here we go. Let's just go ahead and get into this because we got things to talk about. Because why not? All right.
I wasn't aware that we had things to talk about.
Sure, why not? We'll just make stuff up.
Wait a minute. I was gonna make a spicy tweet.
Oh, really? What kind of spicy tweet you doing?
Get ready. I'm gonna blow the internet's pants off in just 1 second, folks. If you give me a second to let the brain process all of this information, I'm gonna explode the internet. I'm gonna start World War III in just a moment.
I'm watching right now. I'm watching the
Watch
Twitter
this, guys. You ready for the most internet moment of your life?
The most internet-y.
It's gonna be so internet-y.
It's so
you guys have no idea what I'm about to unleash.
Okay. Why I say, why hath God given me you, Greg, from Greg's Gadgets? Okay. Thanks, Joe Beam. Appreciate you. Joe Beam says he's enjoying the content. That makes me feel good. Good times. I'm gonna get my lasagna. I'll be back.
Okay. Travis just bought me some time to write my thing.
Okay, I'm back now.
All right, my tweet. You guys ready for this?
Yes.
I'm gonna read it live on air. The wait, this wait was totally worth it. Ready?
Yeah.
Live with GadgetCast. I'm going to address the controversy everyone is talking about.
Sames.
Why Genius Bar and GadgetCast will never be friends.
Literally, I'm going to talk about that. I was literally going to bring up something about Genius Bar and Luke Miani's podcast. So I will retweet and quote tweet yours and say something in addition. Let's do that.
Yeah. You know what? Let me tag it. I'm going to tag these people too.
Everybody.
I'm going to tag these people.
Everybody I'm tagging. And I'm going to spill the juice. What is it? Tea? I'm going to spill the tea because I'm fucking sick of it.
Oh. whoa. This is a family-friendly show.
Is it? I don't even know anymore.
I think it is.
All right, well.
There are families that watch this show.
Are there really? Oh, it's your family mostly.
No, my family doesn't watch.
Actually, I think they weren't they at some point?
No, that doesn't sound like my family. All right, live with Gadget Cast. I'm going to dish the dirt on iUpdate, John Prosser, and even Luke Miani. God rest his soul.
Let's do it. Yeah. Right. Okay, tweet
Boom.
it. I'm gonna say
the nuke was just launched. I just launched the equivalent of a nuke into Twitter.
Here we go.
Twitter.
And I shall give my 2 cents as well. All right. Well, then we should go ahead and are we gonna do that on the Gadget Cast, I think.
Yeah.
Jasmine, you're so right. Jasmine, you're so right. There is an evil side of Greg evolving. Well, he's evolving for sure, but that evil side has always been there. You must be newer to the show because that evil side of Greg is long existed.
There's no evil in my body. I fight the evil. I fight the injustice in this world.
All right, let's tell you,
there's a lot of injustice out there.
All right, let's do it.
I'm like Batman. I'm the Dark Knight.
All right, in 3, 2, 1, record.
Discovery's 4 computers now have primary control of critical vehicle functions.
3, 2, 1, 0.
Hello, world, and welcome to what might be the most controversial episode of the Gadget Cast that we have ever recorded. My name is Gregory McFadden, joined always with my co-host Travis M.C.
Space travel.
I just say space travel.
Back in business.
That's right. We're here to spill all the juice and the tea along with it, because juice is better for you. No, tea actually is probably better for you.
Tea is better for you. The juice industry fed you lies. It's bad for you.
Yes, indeed. They have. So look, do you want to start?
I don't know if I want to start. I think I'm gonna let you start.
I will start. I will start. Damn it.
You know what? I always start. Let's let Travis start.
Why not?
This tweet is picking up some steam. Actually, you know.
Is it really? The tweet you sent out right before
8 likes and the quote retweet.
The audio podcast listeners are going to have no freaking clue what the hell's going on, but that's all right.
Yeah.
You got to be here for the live stream sometimes. Here's the thing. I guess I don't have a lot to say, to be honest. I released my I have a couple things. So I released my new series this past week. Greg was on it yesterday. It's the first time I think we really ever collabed on anything. Greg did a great job. And behind the scenes, Greg helped me out a little bit. Greg and Renee Ritchie both helped me to kind of take an idea and kind of mold it into what it ended up being. I can't remember what Greg added. He added something, and then Renee added something, and then I just put it together and then added some extra things. But I like it. People seem to like it who have watched it. And there's another one's already done. It's already recorded. It will release this week. It's a game show. I don't want to give away anything. I think next week we'll talk to Greg about like what it was like to go through that experience. I wanted to do it today, but the thing is, the video he's in has only been out for a day, and I don't want to spoil it for anybody. So go to my channel, watch it real quick, and whatever. That being said, I have a great respect and love for the people who I asked to be a part of something and they didn't know what it was, and they said yes anyway. That's Greg. That's Jonathan Morrison. That is Luke Miani. That's Gary the Everyday Dad, and that is Thunder E. Bored at Work, who I've never done anything with before, and Michael Fisher, who are going to be on the next episode. There's the tea that Greg has. I thank all of them for believing in me and doing something because, they wanted to create something cool, and I think we did. Here comes the tea. And I also want to thank, because a lot of people loved it, John Prosser for the video that I did with him. Having said that, Greg, as we know, John's an interesting guy. Stop. John, what are you doing, Greg? The people on audio don't know what you're doing. Half
They
the
don't
joke
have
is
to know.
Okay,
You don't have
right.
to reference anything. Can't you just keep going?
Yeah, I will keep going. I'm just so distracted. There are people that I am I'm friendly with most creators. It's been really great. A lot of people have been very supportive. John Prosser, probably the longest standing supporter of mine, because it's been since 28, my first year. So I'm intensely thankful for him. Having said that, I was really disappointed, and have been disappointed, continually disappointed, in the non-communication between myself and him since the video came out. Probably has nothing to do with the video. But let me just tell you what's going on. I kind of knew that this day may come. I just wouldn't expect it yet. So the one thing about John, I've always kind of I've tried to keep the friendship going, and then also knowing in the back of my mind it could end any day. Like, just know that it could end any day. And I felt like I was like, do not be surprised when it happens, because I've seen other things. I've been paying attention. Greg, I've been paying attention. And over the past couple of years, I've seen it happen to other people. And you should never fool yourself into thinking that if you see a trend that you want to, and you're kind of dealing in that situation, that you will not become a part of that trend. And I feel like I was prepared for it, but it's still disappointing. So I haven't heard from John, even though I've reached out to him for a couple of weeks now. I don't know why. And it kind of sucks, because I really consider John to be a really close friend. But again, I kind of knew that this might come, where just all of a sudden I never hear from him again. And it's disappointing. And I think he's the only person that's in my sphere that I considered that might be something that might happen. I don't think that would happen with you, Greg. I feel like if I didn't hear from you for a while, it's probably because you've fallen down a hole or something. I don't know. I don't feel like
I'm dead.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it'd be something like that. And that's not what's happening, because when I started seeing John on other shows and other videos and I'm like, okay, so you're just literally ignoring me. And I don't know why. But that's what I expected. I expected that if one day it came, I would not know why. It would be sudden. And I'm disappointed by it. I'm sad by it. It hurts my feelings a little bit, but again, I kind of expected it someday. I don't know. Having said all that, I've also been surrounded by so many amazing people over the last couple of weeks. Greg has been a great friend. I know that I don't make a big deal about that. We kid each other all the time. Like, for example, someone in the comments today, I said, I don't want to spoil this, but I said someone got destroyed in the video that you're in, the game video, right? The score was really close. And they go, well, I don't know if that's destroying. You have to, it was only by one. And I go, well, you have to understand Greg and I's relationship to understand why I said that, right? So I appreciate that there's so many people that I can kind of count on. And then there's other people that I just know from the outset I can't count on them. I posted a thing on my Twitter where I talked about, where I made this little Venn diagram picture, which is terrible. I am, I can't make Venn diagrams for nothing, but I took a template and I put it together, and here's what it says. It's through three circles. If you don't know what a Venn diagram is, it's three circles and they intersect in the middle. So the first circle is like people you can trust. And the second circle, and I came up with this myself. Like, I didn't find this somewhere. I literally came up, I was thinking, and I'm like, this is interesting. First one's people you can trust. Second one is people you can count on. And then there's the third one is people who believe in you. Now, you might know people in each one of those. You might even know some that are in two of those three. But the one that's in the three, all three are in there in the middle, I put people you keep. Because I feel like those are the people that are so special that you can't spend time doing anything other than appreciating them, because you're messing up. It's not that hard to find people with two of those traits. Which two, it just depends. But all three are really difficult. I'm going to just recommend that everyone out there, if you have someone with all three of those traits, to love on them and just give them everything. And Greg, you are two of those three, maybe three. No, you're three of those three, which is kind of difficult to say, because again, I could count on one hand how many people I could say 3 of 3. I think you're 3 of 3. So Greg, my hat's off to you. How do you feel about that?
Well, when the pressure's on, I always deliver, and I feel tremendous amount of honor to be 3 of the 3.
Yeah. Everyone has those. I just say, anyone who's listening to GadgetCast, think of those people. Think of especially the trust. The trust thing's hard. So Jasmine's saying in the chat, trust, I can write down. That's a tough one. I trust Greg.
I trust no one.
That's actually the way to be. I shouldn't trust him. I do trust Greg, though, for some reason.
I don't trust Travis. I don't trust John Prosser. I don't trust Luke Miani.
The
person I trust least, Sam Cole. I update. I got a theory.
Okay. I don't not trust. By the way, let me just be clear. Greg is speaking for himself. I like Luke a lot. I like Sam a lot. I know Luke better than Sam, but I don't know neither one of them very well. But I know them enough that I'm like, I like them. So what is this? You don't trust either. Maybe I don't trust them either. I don't know. Let me hear this.
I have a theory.
Okay.
We have known a lot of these people for a long time.
Yeah.
As far as tech, YouTube goes a long time. And I feel that there's been a shift since this Sam Cole character has come into my life. I feel like things have gotten worse. Now, I can't prove this, but I think there's something going on, and I think we need to look into it.
Oh, we need investigation.
Ever since the Genius Bar podcast has started, it's been downhill. I think Sam Cole is a saboteur. That's right. I think he used to be a GadgetCast fan. Maybe we didn't get to his fan email. Maybe I missed it. And he is taking his revenge out on us. He has implemented brain control. His videos are hypnotic. If you watch too many of them, you fall under a spell. John Prosser, Luke Miani, they're all under the spell. I mean, everyone this guy touches, they become zombies.
There's something to this. They're literally doing not a gadget. They're doing a podcast today. Luke Miani, and he's going to have on John Prosser and
the Big 3. Mm-hmm. I remember when Luke Miani first started his Dork Mode podcast. Very shortly after appearing on the GadgetCast podcast. He said to me, I will have you and Travis on one day. That would be a fun show.
Ouch.
I remember John Prosser saying, we will have you on Genius Bar one day. That'll be a fun show. But now I'm connecting the dots. This Sam Cole character, he leeches into them, takes their creativity, grows his own channel, and leaves them lifeless husks.
A succubus.
He used to be a lot funnier, but ever since he's been doing stuff with Sam, I'm not laughing as much as I used to. So I don't know what's going on. We share a treasured history with Luke. We did the multiple stream.
Yes.
We streamed the streams.
No one's ever.
That was the collab of the century, if you caught it.
Really was.
And we weren't asked to be on the podcast after that amazing collab.
Terrible.
Luke Miani was a small channel when he was on GadgetCast. He blew up after he came on GadgetCast. Everyone subscribed to him after that. How do you feel about that? Tech is getting slower. But not for one guy. Not for Sam Cole of iUpdate. He's thriving. Wonder why that is.
Hard to argue. It's the conspiracy theory of the decade. It's really what do they call it? The Illuminati of tech. We're not a part of it.
Look into Sam's eyes. Don't look too long. You might be hypnotized.
Terrible.
That's all I have to say.
All right, well, let's move on to some tech stuff, as I'm sure the audio podcast listeners are just about gone. We appreciate you putting up with shenanigans.
Still here.
They might be.
And if you are, you just won nothing.
Nothing. You won a brand new podcast.
Unless you listen to the bots in my comment section, then if you message them on a messaging service, you may get scammed.
Yes, that has happened to me, and I think as you as well.
Yes, that has happened very frequently, and I've had increasing people emailing me or Twitter DMing me, telling me, this is awful, you need to address it. And I go, I have addressed it. I've said in videos, don't believe this, but I can't start off every video going, hey guys, there's scams in the comments. Please don't listen to them. Please don't fall for the scams. There's a check mark next to verified YouTube people's names.
Yeah.
If it sounds too good to be true, it's probably true. Unless you're on Travis's game show, then maybe something happens.
Yes. So let's real quick talk about that without, I don't know. Do we tell people to just skip it?
Why
you know
don't
what?
talk
Here's the thing.
Behind the scenes
Behind the scenes, yes.
Rather than the outcome.
Yes. Okay. So fair. I think, so let's take a look at what's going on so far. So for those of you who haven't watched it, I started a game show.
John Prosser liked my tweet, so he's gonna hear the realness from you, maybe.
Yeah.
And then if you heard all that other stuff from me, he knows where I stand. God, you got to look into that brain implant or hypnosis or whatever. Think about it. Think hard about it. God, you shouldn't be doing other people's channels. You're too big for that. You can't do that.
Oh my gosh. All right. So what was it? Okay. Yeah. So anyway, the show. Okay. So kind of nervous to start a new series of something that is not being done on YouTube. I'm excited to do it because I feel like I want to do it. But then also, like, you never know what's going to happen. So the very first video went out, which was actually the second video I shot. The very first video I shot was actually the Jonathan Morrison Greg video, but I released them in different order for a reason. It's not important. And it was Luke Miani and Gary, both really cool, had a good time. They didn't really know what they were getting into. Surprised them both. It was fun. Just a fun time. And I knew that coming out of the box, it probably wouldn't do super well. But what I found later, which is kind of disappointing, and I feel, and I don't think I've even told you this, Greg. So I'll be interested to hear what your thoughts are on real time. And this is as a YouTuber thing. So it's a new type of content. People in tech are not used to this sort of thing. And I, thumbnail entitled it as such, answer this question, get $500, right? Just kind of enticing, but what's going on? It wasn't until I made it more techie that it actually went anywhere. And at that point, I almost feel it's not misleading, but it's also like, I feel like it's bearing the lead a little bit and I feel bad about it. So I had to do it for the second one so that it would get some type of views, which, it did better than the first one. They're both not doing well, but, for new content, you kind of expect that sort of thing. But the interesting thing is now I don't feel like the thumbnail and title are indicative of what's actually in the video. And it kind of is upsetting. So at some point, I think I'm going to switch it back, but this exciting new thing, you would never know from the outside looking in. Like you just wouldn't know. It just looks like another video where I'm talking about stuff. So I'm still trying to kind of think through that in my mind because I have another video to release and another one to hopefully shoot on Tuesday. What do you think about that, Greg? I mean, people, we always get like these comments to say, oh, you're clickbaiting. And while this isn't clickbaiting because still, yeah, exactly. I mean, just because we say something, it is in the video. Everything I said is in the video. I feel like it doesn't feel genuine to me. And I kind of feel a certain way about it. What do you think?
Well, I don't think you should pay attention to anything that's like, oh, it's clickbaity just because you post anything on YouTube and people will accuse you of some sort of clickbait. You're up against all these people who have no problem using sensationalism in way worse ways than we would ever do. So you have to take that into account when you're titling your videos, when you're doing thumbnails for your videos. I'll use my own video as an example. I did a video about the M1 Ultra, which we'll probably talk about a little bit later after this. And in that, I, just basically said like, oh, I made a mistake. And I literally plotted out my expectations for the device, my history of always wanting something like this, and then finally getting it and realizing, oh, I kind of don't need this. And I thought that was actually really valuable. I think most people took it away as valuable. Like, oh, I feel this way too, but you're right. I probably won't be able to take advantage of this. I'm going to go for the cheaper model. I'm going to get a regular M1 machine. But then some people just they won't even watch the video. And they're like, oh, it's clickbait. Or I got a comment going, oh, I thought this was clickbait. I'm so glad I watched the whole video because it was a great video. But I was so sick of YouTubers clickbaiting me that I almost didn't click on this one. So I think it's both like a problem. A lot of people don't deliver on it to where people get very upset because and people are right. They go with my video specifically. They went, I see tech YouTubers do this all the time, and they're absolutely right. I've never made a video like this, but they're absolutely right. There's people that make this video like clockwork. They'll get the device, and then a month later they'll go, "Oh, I made such a big mistake," and then it's like clockwork. It's with every single device, and it clicked for me there. Going, is it maybe this isn't my fault, but maybe it's just a broader problem with YouTube thumbnails in general, and just like the integrity of some people's content, where it's okay to maybe use those titles sometimes, but if you keep doing it, it loses all effect on people, and they're just looking at it from a negative standpoint. I think for your stuff, it should be a little bit more sensational. If I was doing the game show stuff, because it's more exciting than I think your titles and thumbnails are letting on. And I know you want to surprise people, and I think that's actually really cool in a way, because you want the surprise to be there, and you want people to click on it not really knowing what they're getting, and you want them to kind of be shocked organically, which is really like a great thing from like an artist perspective of like, oh, like I made this cool thing. People are going to find it organically. When they click on it, they're not even gonna know what they're in for. But in terms of marketing it as as like a video that could like shock people and be like, oh, wow, I can't wait to see this. I think that's where it kind of falls down of like, if you want the views out of it, you got to lean into the sensationalism with like shock thumbnail. Oh my God. Even the intro, like you save so much. I watched both of the videos. You save so much to the point where you really don't know what's going to happen until the end. And most other YouTubers, and you might have to borrow the strategy, honestly, if you want the series to succeed, is to have like a 20-second opening where you see like, it's just like zingers of like, this person got this question wrong, and like, oh, you see the pressure on someone else's face. So
I'll give that a shot for the next one then. That's not a bad idea. I usually do the cliffhanger intro thing, which I did in this last one. But this, what you're saying now, and by the way, you're now getting to hear what Greg and I sometimes talk about when I like ask for advice, or if he asks for advice or whatever. This is kind of what we say. I like that idea. I'm going to give it a shot. I haven't edited the next one yet, so I have a perfect opportunity to do that. And I think that's cool. So I'm going to try that.
Yeah. Maybe I'm not explaining it in the right way, but like a good, like 30-second of like the highlights kind of like really rolled into like that intro to make people stick around, I think would be really beneficial. And then also, like you just explained, you're trying not to clickbait people into the thumbnail, but I do think you'll probably have to like lean into that, especially with like the guests that you have and everything, because I feel like that's what people are going to see, and they're going to want to click on it.
Yeah, I'm still trying to figure it out, and I think I liked what I had before. I think it was more sensational and more mainstream, but I guess the people who see my videos initially just weren't connecting with it at all. So I had to change it to something that they're more used to, and then they started clicking. So I don't know.
It's definitely going to be hard for you to walk the balance, especially because, like you said, this is new content that no one's really doing, so no one's searching for this, which is a problem. And you have to deal with the expectations of the tech audience, who I think are complaining about tech videos being a little stale right now and kind of being the same thing over and over. And while I might fault some of maybe the people doing these videos, I also think part of the blame falls on the audience, because this is what they keep watching. This is what they really want, even though they're kind of sick of it at this point. I feel like this is ultimately still what they're clicking on and ultimately what they want. So every time someone says they want something new and fresh with tech, like I tried to do in my last video, I hope I succeeded. I think I did because a lot of people were liking it. I still have to blend traditional elements in because tech is such a rigid subject. People are really there for information at the end of the day. Some people can deliver that maybe in a more entertaining way, but there's such a balance of that tightrope of every little bit of entertainment that you put into the video technically is someone losing out on information. This isn't a negative. This is a positive. Like Renee Ritchie, very information dense. Like it's the type of videos that I like to watch. It's like, this is my video. I get to learn stuff watching this. So, and then he tries to make it entertaining too, but still at the end of the day, he is packing so much information into those videos. And you can't always go for a super entertaining route on the subject, especially with tech. I think it's one of the most rigid subjects for a content creator out there. You look at movie reviews, you look at video game reviews, which I feel like maybe you could kind of maybe closely tie with the tech niche. I feel like it's kind of similar, even though they're different, especially video games. But they can be so much more entertaining with the subject because they have all these different characters and outlets where they can kind of play off that. And with tech, at the end of the day, you have these products and the personalities of the tech industry, even the most entertaining personalities out there, like a Tim Cook or something like that. If you compare them against video game characters or people in Hollywood, it's really not a lot to play off of.
Yeah, and you're right. About a year ago or so, I started feeling frustrated because I felt like tech as a niche was very uncreative and very, by and large, I'm not talking about you can't ever see a creative video. Every so often you do, but if you compare it to other niches, it's much more far and few in between. Because when someone tries something cool and it doesn't work out, then we don't want to do it again. I'll give you one of the more creative ones that happened about a year or so ago, maybe a year and a half ago, was iPhonedo. When he did the listen to these AirPod Maxes, I think it was, and he recorded it with those ASMR microphones so you could hear what it sounded like. I think it was spatial audio or something. I thought that was incredible. And eventually it got a lot of views, like 1 million views or something, because it's so interesting. I think initially it really wasn't doing all that well. And that's the thing that can scare people off. And I think that was creative. I think there's some really creative. I think Mr. Who's the Boss is doing some pretty creative stuff, which I kind of appreciate. But at the end of the day, I think generally speaking, the vast majority of views come from these kind of boring things. Now, the video you did today, I even told you this, of yours today, I liked because the entertaining part was I thought was very entertaining, which I appreciate, because while I do like to watch tech videos, I like more to be entertained. I think you did a great job there. And there was information that I've been looking for as far as these Mac Studios for a while, and I hadn't seen anyone else answer the damn thing. It seemed like people were coming close, but no one was answering the question that I had, and Greg answered it, which was, we saw a lot of comparisons of the studio between itself and then other computers, and either higher end, but I didn't see any. Now, I'm not saying that no one else did it. Is it the ones that I saw initially did not answer this question? I didn't see any that were comparing against like straight up M1, the first initial M1, with certain program stuff that I would use. I saw a lot of pros versus maxes versus 3090, all this other stuff, but it's not the thing that I wanted to know personally. So Greg answered that question, and he kept me entertained. And I liked the format that you did today. I think that it's definitely something that could still be popular, because you're still, giving the information, but then also you're being kind of fun. And I could tell you had fun. And you see people in chat now are really, really enjoying it. That's a great gadget I would watch a lot more of if I didn't even know you. Like if I didn't know you, I would watch those. So I think that that's definitely a cool, because every once in a while when you do that, I tell you, like I'll text you, I'll tell you, hey man, that was the one.
Yeah. No, and someone actually brought it up in the comments on my video. They said, I listened to the last GadgetCast episode and you literally talked about this. You don't know the balance you're supposed to walk of information and entertaining. And it's so much harder to make that type of video because you need the information and then you need to be entertaining or try and do different things. And you can't use the same joke over and over again. So when I go to make another video, I have to think of all new things or an interesting way to say it. And it's much easier just to give out the information than try and think of entertaining things. That video took, like, it was one of the longest videos I worked on in a while. And if it doesn't ultimately like resonate with people, you kind of wonder, was it worth it to put all that extra time into the video? But this one seems to be resonating with people more in a way than I think maybe some of the other ones have, because I think I paced it a lot better, where I feel like some of the other things I've done have just been like one-offs or random things. I really tried to tie it into this video in a way where the pacing made sense with it, with the information and some of the more entertaining bits, if I'm so bold to say they're entertaining. So I had a point that I wanted to make before I talk about my video, though. There was a very popular YouTube. I'm blanking on the last name. Doug DeMero, was it? I think.
Yeah, he's a car channel. Yep.
I saw you reply to that tweet.
Yep.
And I'm sorry if we're talking a little bit too behind the weeds on this. Hopefully the audience finds this interesting for tech stuff, how the process is made. I think these episodes are interesting sometimes. He basically tweeted out that he does a couple different series on his channel, and one of the series that he likes to do doesn't do that well. And it was like, if me and Travis released this series, we'd be like head over heels, go, oh, but what do you? I think it was like the difference. It was like 100,000 views in like 4 hours or something like that. And one video got like 40,000 more views in that same time period. Both videos on a metric of YouTube success were really good. But this type of video performs so much worse than some of the other videos he does, that he is basically contemplating that he won't do these types of videos anymore because it doesn't reach as wide of an audience as the other videos he does. And it made me really sad to read that. I'm not even a fan of this guy's channel, honestly. I really just learned about this guy maybe like a day ago, which is funny. And then I literally saw that tweet after. So that was really weird timing. And I saw this thing, and I saw a lot of fans, and I think like you and Casey Neistat were like, oh, I love this series or something like that. Or maybe you commented on like the algorithm or something like that. But I know like Casey said, don't stop doing it. And I saw so many like fans of this guy going, oh, well, your hardcore fans love this stuff. It makes it's loyalty with us, and we want to see more of that stuff. And it made me like really sad that it seems like sometimes the bigger you get on YouTube or social media, whatever, the more constrained these people get to the algorithm, we'll call it. I don't like to call it that sometimes, but they get more constrained to the audience. And I get that at the end of the day. At the end of the day, you want to make videos that people see. But these people have such a level of success that even if their numbers suffered a little bit, they still, like, I'm sure this guy's completely fine. And I'm sure, this guy like records all of his videos with an iPhone. I don't even know how complex of like a team he has or anything. It's very simple stuff, but it's very entertaining to watch. It just makes me sad that people feel so tied to this algorithm that I feel, it would be one thing if he said, I don't enjoy making this type of video, but it didn't seem to be the implication of that. It seemed to just be like a numbers thing. Like, this isn't hitting the numbers I want, so therefore I won't do it anymore. And that just made me sad. Like, are we so tied to this stuff that it has to be so formulaic? What's the point of making all this stuff? Why is it just for the numbers? Who cares if you get 100,000 more views or 100,000 more subscribers at the end of the day? If it's not fulfilling to us, why are we wasting our time making this stuff? Who cares if you die $1 million richer at the end of the day? At a certain point, it doesn't matter.
Yeah. So I'm glad you said this. This is a subject I think a lot about. For me, it's because personally, I can only speak for myself. It's because the numbers that fail for me now are lower than they were before, and they're what I call irrelevant numbers. In other words, the content is irrelevant because it's not hitting any type of significant number that fulfills me in any way. And my minimum for this is reasonable. So when you're talking about what you're talking about, I 100% agree. There's a creator that I watch. He has like a retro computer tech channel or whatever. And he said he was not doing this one series anymore because no one watched it. And what he meant by no one watched it was 150,000 people. I'm thinking in my mind that if I think I'm reasonable. If I ever do a series, I almost don't even care how big I get, that just always hits 30 to 40,000 people, I think I would just do it. Who cares? Because at that point, it's relevant enough that you can get sponsorships for it. You can do these things to keep yourself going. So the number that I want to hit at some point is much larger than it is now. I mean, I ironically was hitting it like a year ago, which is really weird. But I think my expectations are reasonable. I think when you hear that, because everything's relative, it sounds unreasonable. But for them, it is their version of failure, which is weird, which is interesting, right? It never changes. I remember, Greg, and tell me if you ever had this. I remember when I first started out, I was thinking, man, if I ever get to the point where I get 1,000 views on every single video, I'm going to be pretty happy with it. And if I ever get 10,000, I'm not ever going to worry about that video ever again. Both of those numbers to me are failures, huge failures right now. So it's interesting how as we get larger, the number chase is larger. I think if I had something that I felt was sustaining enough, even if it wasn't super big numbers, if it was sustaining enough, I would be cool with it. And I would just do whatever. If I could get the same views, I'll give you a perfect example. If I get the same views on this new series and the Switch series that I used to get on my Amazon Renewed series, which never like blew the roof off anything, but I was happy with, I would be more than content. And it's reasonable because I've done it before, but I did it with something else. So for me, I think my numbers are reasonable. And then after that, I think I'm where you're talking about, where I'm like, I just want to do things that are fun. And as it is, I do just want to do things that are fun, because the stuff, as I've told you personally, that works is stuff that I don't really want to do anymore. And I think you have had recently, as you've told me, and I don't want to tell your story, feeling a similar-ish way where you want to do more. And I think not only have I said this to you and said that I think you have more, Jonathan Morrison has also remarked some things about you during these last couple of trips, and is enjoying seeing you come out of your shell. And I think you are a better creator as you are more interesting to watch, put it that way. Personally, I could be wrong though.
I mean, I agree. It is just the balance of doing tech and stuff like that. And I love tech. I'm not saying I don't like it. Even if I'm making a boring video, technically there's like, if I had to do like something else, I guess I'd rather do the boring video than than do something else with it. But I do like experimenting with it a little bit, because I feel, especially at this point, I've just seen so many people down about numbers and the type of content that they have to make. And I really feel like a large swath of tech creators who, even maybe back in the day, I felt were actually a little bit more creative and took a little bit more risk, have fallen into this pattern of just kind of making the same thing over and over and over again. So I feel like I don't want to ever become that. I don't want to just feel like, oh, this is, I mean, when stuff works, it works, and that's great. But there's so much regurgitation in tech specifically right now. And I think eventually there's just going to be a bubble where people go, I don't want to watch this same video anymore. And I don't know when that happened. Maybe it's happening now because everyone in tech is complaining about these lower views. But everything just feels so regurgitated. I can't imagine if I talk to some of these people in a room that they would go, yeah, I enjoy making every single one of those videos that is almost exactly the same video. Some creators, I mean, I don't want to get, I really don't want to spill the tea, but there's some creators out there. I don't think any ones we've had on the show. I think I respect all of them, but there's some creators out there where it's like, I watch their video and it goes, I feel like this is the same video. I feel like you said the same thing again and again and again. And sometimes it works really well for them. And I go, this is just the audience. They want this thing.
Yeah. By the way, like, I mean, you're saying a lot of things that I felt for a long time, and I'm trying to get out of that bubble before it bursts, which is weird because I probably should have done this a year ago, because I'd be in a better place now. I feel the same thing. Like, there's going to be just a couple of people that will get views that people are happy with in tech, and then the rest are going to get scraps because the interest is only for a couple of things for a short amount of time by a couple of people. And where it used to be great or whatever, I don't know that we can go back to that unless you can do something different, which is what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to make it not just about tech, but just has a part of tech, right? That's the idea. Will I succeed? I don't know. I'm going to attempt to give myself the better part of a year, at the very least the rest of this year, to make this work. If it doesn't work, Greg, I'm going to be real honest with you right now and real transparent. I don't know what I will do. If I'm in the same position next year, I really don't know. I may not do this anymore. I don't know. We'll see. But I do feel the need. I feel like that toothpaste where you squeeze it at the end. And I feel like I'm being squoze out. And I think it's time to do something interesting. So I appreciate you again doing something interesting and being a part of the process that I'm trying to go through and I'm trying to figure out as I go through my little crisis, so to speak, of personality and creativity and whatever,
Yeah.
Anyway,
I see Renee is in the chat. I said some complimentary things about Renee earlier on the show. I don't know if he was here to hear that, but I did.
Well, he's in my 3 circles that I talked about earlier.
Yes.
100% in my 3 circles for sure. One of the most genuine and really awesome people I've met that I did not know who Renee Ritchie was before I think Viper started talking about him. I think that was my first kind of, because I wasn't using Apple at all before I was a YouTuber, right? Except for an iPad, and that was it. Anything else I looked up had nothing to do with Apple. So I wasn't aware of Renee. And I'm glad I wasn't, because I know that a lot of people that knew Renee beforehand, and like you, like had this like, oh my God, it's Renee Ritchie.
I was a Renee fanboy. How about that?
Right.
Yeah.
There was a couple people that has been like that. And that's cool. I think it's dope. I didn't know that was a thing. So for me, he was just a guy who was like kind of cool. And it made it easier. It made it easier for me to talk to him, right? To go, I mean, he's a guy. That's cool, right? I have a tremendous amount of respect. I always had respect for him but I didn't know who he was. I'm like, everyone has respect for him. So I immediately had respect for him. I'm like, Process has respect for him, Viper has respect for him. So I immediately respected him. I don't know who he is, but I respect him. Let me talk to him. And then I realized like how cool of a guy he is. And that I really feel like that's a guy that if I were to walk away from tech YouTube, I would still want to keep in touch with, because I think he's cool. So yeah.
I feel like Renee is one of those rare people that you meet that is the real thing. And I feel like I can only put a couple people in that category. I would put Jonathan Morrison in that category, and I would put Renee in that category out of all the people I've kind of interacted with. So nice, so genuine, and always like willing to help. It feels like they care about you, and it's kind of like, and they care. They help so many people and stuff like that. So it's so cool to see. This is a fun story. You might have told on Gadgetcast before. This is how you know Renee is like a big deal in like the tech industry. We had Luke Miani on one time, and then Luke was like, we're in like the, what do you call it? I was gonna say backstage, the backstage area. We're backstage, and we were talking about how we just had Renee on. And Luke was like, "Oh, you had Renee on?" It's like, "Yeah." He's like, "Oh," and then we're like, "Oh, we should get a show with both you on together." It's like, "Oh, you could do that? I could be on with Renee?"
Luke was so excited.
He was like, "Oh, I get to be on with Renee." So that's the respect that Renee has in the industry, where people are like, "Wait a minute, hold on."
Yeah,
I get to talk to Renee. That's really cool.
Duke Miami was so excited to get on with Renee. I thought that was one of the.
I mean, so was I when he came on first. I was like, "Wait a minute, we got Renee." Whoa.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't want to embarrass myself.
It's so a lot of this stuff has been
now
fun.
Now he's watching videos with me with the back of my head, and I feel completely embarrassed.
Yeah. Explain that.
My last video is so much better, Renee, than that.
Explain why you did that, Greg.
Actually, I feel bad. Because I think people think I'm actually having like a legitimate breakdown. Because I realize I've been like being a little goofy in my last videos. So one of the videos I did was a thing I was joking about with Patrick Tommaso, who we have to have on the show one time. And we were like, I forget who said what, but basically it was like, what if you did a video where it's just like record it like the back of your head? like what would happen? Would people still watch? Would the retention be amazing? Because people are like, why is this guy showing the back of his head? He's eventually has to turn around. What if you never turn around and never address it? So it kind of came out of that. And then it also came out of like the studio display. Just a lot of comments saying like, oh, it doesn't matter what it looks like, the fit and finish of it doesn't how you feel. So it's kind of almost like a commentary on that of here's this very unpolished video to the point where my back is turned. Does it really matter? And so many people in that comment almost kind of picked up on it where they're like, I can't see your face. And that actually does matter to me. And I can't follow along with this video. So in a way, it was kind of saying the presentation and stuff matters. It was also just kind of like a fun gag to see what would happen. And the sad part is about that video, it was ultimately a test to see, would people watch or click on a video that is just really bad? And people watched it, and this video got more like views than some legitimately better videos on this subject that were way more polished. So it was an interesting thought experiment into YouTube. And I don't know ultimately what my conclusions are. The views aren't great on the video, to be honest. So maybe the conclusion is that people do care. But I was surprised that it got as many views as it did in a way.
Yes.
We have to talk about tech. It's already 44 minutes into the show. And
please do. Please talk about your last video. I want to throw some stuff.
All right.
Explain what happened.
The M1 Ultra. The M1 Ultra. Travis, you saw the video. The Mac Studio is out. I finally got to use the M1 Ultra for a little while. And as impressive of a computer as it is, and I think I showed in my video that there's certainly use cases where you can take advantage of the power. Me and Renee were going back and forth a bit on Twitter, and he's seeing some performance increases as well. But I think if you're like me and you're not dealing with the most intensive footage, and also there's just some updates that need to be out before I think this thing maybe gets fully utilized. I noticed in Apple's notes, they said they were using like a pre-release version of Final Cut. I think Max Tech said that some of the media engines that Final Cut uses, the M1 Ultra would have more of those, and they weren't all being lit up. But ultimately, I got to look at the product that's out now. I can't wait on the promise of software updates. And I just looked at it and went, this thing is basically exporting the same and feels the same, more importantly, not even just export times, feels exactly the same as the M1 Max Studio. So I ultimately felt that the M1 Ultra, at least for me, which I hope I portrayed in the video, was a little overkill. And that was more personal than maybe an objective review would be. So yeah, ultimately at the end of the day, I just felt like what I was seeing in my tests for my stuff wasn't any faster.
Yeah. So Renee's talking that he has the beta. In my so I saw you put that in your video, right? He's like, yes. Oh, I don't have this. I immediately thought, I don't think it's software. I think it's what they used. I think it's a combination of the type of video content they used and the new software. So in other words, if they were doing like 8K high bit rate and then comparing that, I believe that's what they were. I think that's the difference. I don't think it's like, oh, what you've been using, new software, it's good. Although that did happen, as we know, with LumaFusion, like they completely changed the game. But my guess is it's a combination of that beta and a very high level of, because that was the point of your video. Like yes. You need to have this high level of use in order to get use out of it. Right?
Yes.
So my thought is that if you did those things, you would see a difference. But are we ready to see 8K, Greg? Is that a thing that
I would love to do 8K, Greg. I just don't know of an 8K camera that I would want to use at this point without any of the hassles of using it. And I would like 8K because I probably wouldn't even upload an 8K, but I would like to crop in a little bit more without losing detail and all that. So I'm ready for 8K when it comes out. Maybe that's something that maybe this is just getting us ready for that 8K world, because there does need to be machines that run 8K smoothly or 6K and all this stuff. And I noticed with Max Tech did a pretty good video on this. I referenced his video in my video because he just did a way more tests than I would do in my workflow. I really wanted it to be more personal. I didn't want to run through just a bunch of benchmarks like I usually do. I want it to be more personal. So he ran through all those, and I felt, well, he already did the work, so I'll just reference him. And he was dealing with 8K Canon RAWs, I think you're referencing. And that's where you saw the speed improvements. I know Renee uses a Canon. So I guess that's like a cinema camera. I think Renee used. I don't know which model, but I guess depending on like the footage you work with, you would see these speed improvements that people are seeing. But the good thing about the Max Tech video is he also did footage that was similar to mine coming off the Sony camera, and it was the same. There was no difference in the results. So I was more speaking to the people that really don't know if this is for them, and maybe I don't know if that's helpful. It felt like it was. It felt like there was a lot of people who didn't know if they should go for the max version or the ultra version. I would classify them as maybe more prosumer, not necessarily full on pro. And they felt very relieved with the tests. They basically were like, you know what? You're right. This is what your work sounds similar to what I do. And if there's not massive speed improvements, why would I spend all this extra money?
Right. And that, again, that was one of the reasons why I really liked your video, because it did answer some stuff for me. Like, do I need this? Do I want this? Do I need something more? And I just see Gary Everdad said in our chat, which is kind of interesting. He says his favorite processors are the M1 Standard and Max. The meh ones are the Pro and the Ultra. So if you want to think of it as 1, 2, 3, 4, with the M1 Standard being 1 and the Ultra being the last, he likes 1 and 3, and 2 and 4 are the ones that he's not particularly excited about or doesn't see as much value in, which is an interesting. He's basically talking about the base of each it's interesting. Yeah. So I guess the thing is, like, I would probably go with Pro, because I probably wouldn't go with any of them. Actually, I'm just waiting for M2 because I think I need single core speed.
I think that was what I really wanted to portray in my video, was that I said this in my video. The Mac Studio, and maybe I'm not portraying it well in GadgetCast. This M1 Ultra Mac Studio, it's an amazing machine, even if it didn't work for me. I've seen enough tests from other people like Renee and like Max Tech where they're getting some of these different results. And then you look at the machine and it's like so small. It doesn't make that much noise. It's very like cool to the touch. The performance you're getting out of that small little box, it's absolutely astounding what Apple is able to fit in there. But I think, as Renee is kind of alluding to in the chat, that the M1 is for 85% of the market, M1 Max 10%, M1 Ultra 5%. My conclusion was that a lot of people think this processor benchmarks so well in Geekbench on multi-core performance or in Cinebench. And if I get this machine, it's going to speed up what I do. And for the 85 to 50% of the market, my message for that video was, what will really make your workflow faster at this point will be M2 machines of these existing chips with higher clock speed for better single core performance, which will carry over into multi-core performance. But then you get more powerful cores that a lot of these applications aren't optimized to take advantage of a full 20-core processor. And that's where you'll probably notice more speed improvements than going with something like the M1 Ultra. And I ultimately thought that was actually not a negative per se. I thought that was actually really nice because I think for most people, we're at a point in computing right now where these M1s or future M2 Max or M2 Pro devices are really, really performative in a place where 5 years ago, if you bought like the lowest end Intel MacBook Air, you wouldn't want to do any sort of video editing on that machine. But now we're at a point where you can do a lot of these things. And I feel like it democratizes all of the things that people do on computers that you kind of need it like a big box to do them in the past. So I'm actually really excited to see the next stage, the next architecture for M2, and see how much that speeds up everything.
I think the base level,
this really is all built off the first generation of M1 still. So it's going to be cool to see this keep going.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully we see it soon. At this point, like, I wouldn't be surprised if we didn't see it this year. I mean, I think we should see it this year. I don't see why we wouldn't, but it almost would not surprise me if they don't. It feels like if they really wanted to, they can just hang for a while, and the chip shortages and everything being a thing, they could just wait another year if they wanted to. And while because they're throwing out, especially with this Pro that's hanging in the wings, waiting to be released, the only people who care about this stuff are the big tech tubers and tech enthusiasts, and they still have another version of the M1 that can come out that's going to blow everyone's mind, right? So they could literally wait another year if they want to for M2. I don't think they will. I hope they don't, because I kind of want a new iMac, even though the iMac I have is perfectly fine. But they could, and it would be a logical. No, I mean, listen, right now, just getting a gallon of gas is ridiculous. As we talked about when we were in LA, just using Uber or Lyft, you get a fuel surcharge, which means that same stuff is happening when you're shipping product across the country or you're shipping it across the world. Like, these new additional pieces of costs are being thrown on top of things, and you want M2 to be your base level. Everything's built upon it. You don't want it to be too expensive. That's kind of the thing, right? So I don't know. We'll have to see. I mean, until Renee says Intel can make them for not shipping, but Intel made fun of them when things weren't even funny, and it ended up backfiring on them. So I would highly recommend Intel not do any of that, because they end up looking silly. And Everyday Dad says, I can't believe there's not even a fan in a laptop that's as powerful as the M1, and he's 100% correct. They're so far ahead of the thing that they literally could wait another year and still be fine.
They could, but I think things are just so far set into motion, so far in advance, and then fabbing these new chips is going to help them ease supply shortages of what's already out there. And it seems, well, I don't know how truthful Apple is in this, but it seems a lot of the shortages are due to older chip configurations. But I think there was a couple stories saying they were facing some, or possibly going to face some A15 shortages. And that's one of the theories for why the new iPad Air just has an M1 in it, because it's like, oh, well, we can save the A15 chip for the iPhones, which we're going to need. And we can just put the M1 in the iPad, because obviously Macs and iPads don't sell anywhere near iPhone numbers.
Right. So it'll be interesting to see what they do, considering there are shortages and such. I think it's important to temper your expectations. The only thing we do know for sure is coming, because Apple's told us, is the new Pro. Everything else is speculation and leaks, and we've seen how those last year, some leaks that we were positive just never happened. So, temper your expectations. Apple's doing fine. Their product line is really great right now, probably better than it ever has been. I think you even said in your video something like it's now a point where you can say a Mac is a better value overall than a lot of PCs, which is interesting.
Yeah, that was a big takeaway too, where it's even with the M1 Ultra, as expensive as it is, $4,000. If you really compare it against what you would have to build a PC to get the CPU performance, at least, is what I was kind of comparing it to, you would have to get a pretty expensive Threadripper chip or an equivalent from like Intel. And talk about supply shortages. These are even more money now than they retailed for. I think they retailed for about $4,000, which is the exact same price as that Mac Studio. So let's just say it was $4,000. You could get a Mac Studio, a full computer with the graphics card, with 64 gigabytes of RAM, with a terabyte drive, a full computer for the same price as one of these Threadripper chips, where the performance is very similar. But even now, with all these chip shortages, I think I included a screenshot in the video, and that Threadripper was like $6,000 or $7,000, the equivalent, because of these shortages. So really, the value here, and Apple's supply chain, them outsourcing their own parts, it's almost like they did it at like the perfect time. It's almost like they predicted all this would happen, because one of the biggest problems in the PC industry right now is finding the right parts to build your PC. And how cool is it that you can go to Apple and get some pretty powerful machines and not have any issue getting them? And that, if you work with Windows and you need to upgrade, and you're not a Linus Tech Tips who gets sent the latest thing, if you actually work with Windows PCs and you need to upgrade today, and you're facing these shortages, that impacts your workflow. But if you're a Mac user and you have all these great options now, and I know the Mac Studio is like a little bit delayed, but it's way better than taking a gamble trying to get one of these GPUs or one of these higher clocked or higher core CPUs right now. I feel like that is I wonder if that'll cause people to switch to the platform, where they can't build the PC they necessarily want to build. And they'll just go, well, Apple has these Macs available that are pretty powerful. I can go get one of those right now. That not to, after you spilled the tea on John Prosser, didn't that literally happen to John Prosser, where he wanted to get his PC died. He was going to go out and replace his PC. He couldn't find a part, so he just bought a Mac Mini.
I think so. Yeah, I think
that's a legitimate story that happened to someone like that. So I feel like Apple, they're in a very good spot right now with their supply chain. Even if they're getting hit by these shortages too, they are not getting hit in the same way that other companies are. They are much better prepared to weather this storm than a lot of other companies right now because of their scale. And these M1 machines or whatever, these Apple Silicon machines are actually priced pretty competitively for the performance. And I think you'll see even more Windows people switch to Mac at this point, especially in the laptop world, where the efficiency gains really make a great difference with battery life.
Yeah,
it's kind of hard in a way to appreciate it on the desktop because there's no battery of how efficient these chips are. It'll save you money on your energy bill, but you don't really see those gains for yourself. But the minute you start talking about laptops, and then you take that performance, and then you're still getting this amazing battery life, that's where it really starts to astound you.
Mm-hmm. If you are listening to the audio podcast, which most of you are, you need to come watch the live stream of this. We had some really great comments in the live stream. Definitely check out GadgetCast on YouTube. I've seen some really great comments during the entire live stream. So make sure you come on through and read those while watching this. Anything else, Greg, before we leave it go?
Let's see. Do I want to get more controversial out there? All right, let's pick on someone. Let me pick on someone. I'm going to go on YouTube.
All right.
I'm going on YouTube. You know what? Can we screen share? Is that a thing?
Yeah, you can. 100%. We can do that.
All right.
On the bottom, just hit that little share screen thing and make sure that all the audio podcast listeners get no value out of this. That'd be good.
Okay. That's okay.
Okay.
I have to allow Chrome. Hold on. Chrome wants to see everything.
Chrome wants your entire RAM and everything about you.
I have to quit and reopen Chrome to do this. You know what, guys?
What? You don't normally have to.
You know what?
Oh, because you're on Mac OS. That's why.
Hold on, wait. It's actually let me do it.
You should do it. Yeah. I mean, I could do it if you tell me what it is.
I want to do this organically.
What do you do? What are you looking to do here?
I'm just trying to.
Yeah, Kat, you're saying don't forget your death metal voice. People really seem to like that. I thought that was pretty funny.
That was funny. Unable to share the screen. All right. It was right. All right. Well, anyway, I'm going to look at someone random. You know what, Travis? Pull up the YouTube page on you. Go ahead. You do it. Yeah.
What am I doing?
Pull up youtube.com. Pull up your homepage. We're going to take a look at the what the algorithm recommends, Travis. We're going to rip him a new one.
Okay. Why are we doing this, Greg?
Why aren't we?
Okay. All right. Well, ironically,
Genius Bar pick on Apple explained. It's our turn to pick on someone.
Oh, did they? Oh, they did. Ironically, if you look at the very first one, it's us live streaming right now.
That's fine. So, those are great guys. Don't say anything.
Okay.
Austin Evans, I like him. He's a cool guy.
Yeah, we love Austin. We love Austin.
Your channel, I don't got anything to work with.
Yeah, let's see.
People? I don't even know any.
I've been watching a lot of Scammer Payback lately. That's a pretty good show.
Pawn Stars.
Pawn Stars. I love Pawn Stars.
What's that guy's name? Rick.
Yeah, Rick from Pawn Stars.
Pawn Stars. Come on. Not good.
What's wrong? It's a good show. I like the show. It's an older show. Although I think they have some newer stuff too.
Wait. Don't get us flagged for copyright. Don't play any of their stuff.
I'm not playing it. I'm just flipping through it. These are screenshots. These are screenshots or nothing. Gamer Nexus.
Gamer Nexus. I got a bone to pick with this guy. I don't know if you remember my video where I said I had the best hair in all of tech YouTube. Some people were saying, some people in my comments were going, what about Steve from Gamer Nexus? No, not as good. Not as good.
In case you don't know, you should
cut that off, Steve.
I'm not digging a picture of Steve. Let's see, Steve. A lot of analytics.
He's not even showing his face because he doesn't want people to see.
There he is. Okay, here's his hair. Very, very.
Mine's better. I'm sorry. Sorry, Steve. Better luck next time.
Okay, enough of that. Anyway,
Sorry,
thank you
Steve.
thank you guys for joining us
I'm on
and
the
everyone
show
in chat.
sometime, Steve. Maybe we could talk about it.
Yeah, we actually could. If Steve from Gamers Nexus wants to come on,
I'll give you some
I'd be
advice,
happy.
Steve, on what to do with that hair.
Hair products. Well, where is he from? Is he in California? Where is he at? Just says
We're
United
all
States.
in California, Travis. All the talented and good people are in California, and we're not.
Yet. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us. Of course, check out the YouTube channel. And if not, definitely leave us a really cool review on Apple Podcasts. Whatever. We like you, and we hope that you'll come check us out next time. So for Greg, I'm Travis. We'll see you next week. Peace and love. You know what's interesting, Greg? I don't know if it's interesting. Maybe it isn't. Can you see this right back here? I got the other deity.
I saw that. I was like, oh, what is that?
The white one.
The white microphone arm, huh?
That's why I bought it, because it's white. This is one of the things where I buy stuff because of color. So they sent me
the
one.
microphone arm. Is it good?
The microphone arm is fine. It's it's kind of like one of the less expensive ones from Amazon, but they work really well. They work well, so I can't fault them. I still have the black one that they sent me, but I liked it so much for my iMac, and I wanted a white one because white and Apple, that happens, right? And I had to take the screen off because otherwise it looks like a white with black. It just looks really clean, man. I love the way it looks with the iMac. Totally unnecessary.
Oh, you know what? I had a bone to pick with Renee. I did want to cancel Renee.
Let's cancel Renee. Let's do that.
Let's cancel Renee.
Why though?
I want to burn the bridge with everyone we know.
All right, what's going on?
All right, Renee. This one's. You ready for this, Renee? Ooh, you got the hot seat on. He said he had my shirt on, so he's sweating under that shirt right now. I'm gonna milk it for a little while. Oh,
right. He said do it. He said do it.
He's ready. He's ready. Renee, you just came out with a video yesterday. 27 YouTubers asking you questions.
Oh, yeah.
You know, Renee, 30 is a better number than 27. I would have thrown you a question. I could have been 28. Travis could have been 29. We could have picked some guy off the street to be number 30.
Some guy off the street.
Food for thought, Renee. Food for thought.
Oh yeah, that's kind of a real comment. That's what's actually funny about it. It's partially jokes, but it's kind of a real comment based on a conversation that I had with. He loves. Listen, let's be honest. He loves Renee so much that I think his feelings actually were hurt that he wasn't in that video. Not because he wasn't in it, but more so like of who was in it versus the fact that he wasn't in it. And I kind of understand that a little bit. He goes, "Oh, you were traveling when he put the."
Oh yeah. What a better! I had Jonathan Morrison stuff. I could give you the crispiest footage you've ever seen.
That's true. It could have been super crispy, Renee. It could have been even better than anyone else's there.
I could be considerate. Maybe a little too considerate.
Never be considerate of Greg. That is the story. That is the thing we've learned today.
What if he did have 30? What if like, let's take Renee at his word. What if he was like, I'm going to have 30 YouTubers ask me questions, and the 3 were Jonathan Morrison, you, and me, and we just missed out.
That would have been perfect. We were all in the same place. We literally could have all done it. What if that's
why he was being considerate? What if it was? He had, 27. What a weird number. I was like, where's this 27 from? 30 is a better number. And then us 3 were all doing stuff. He was like, I can't ask them. They're so busy. I'm going to say
he should know better than that.
I'm going to say in his draft, I'm going to say all 3 of us were in that draft. And at a last minute, he was so upset. He had to start picking from the pool of less talented YouTubers like Marquez Brown Lee, Dave 2D, little known people like that. Not the big shots, like us.
Actually, you know what? I don't normally go along with your conspiracy theories, but it actually makes sense because 27 is a weird number and 30 makes
27 is a weird number. 30
and 100% he would have Jonathan because they love each other. So of course, it actually makes sense. I can't stand the fact that I'm believing what you're saying right now.
I missed the bragging rights to say I was in a video with Mr. Beast. I missed that bragging right. I missed it, Renee.
Achievement not unlocked.
This will weigh on me. Do you know how many people I would have just went to and just been like, "Hey, look at this. I'm with Mr. Beast." I wouldn't even say I was with Renee. I'd be like, look at this collab with me and Mr. Beast.
Oh my God. We're joking. We love Renee. We just know, Renee, that you literally never have to be considerate of our time. Either one of us.
I would have done anything for you, Renee.
Anything. And 100%. 100%. And with these videos, someone always mad. That's true. Renee's also right. You're always leaving someone out, so someone's gonna be mad. That's very true.
Well, you
just don't ever leave Greg.
You left out the wrong two guys.
Of all the people you could have
left out anyone else, they wouldn't have said a peep. But you got the realness here.
You got the wrong guy.
You got the wrong guy.
Oh crap!
That'll teach you.
Anyway, we love Renee, so it doesn't matter. Okay, we'll be around
for
the
next. My own question video. I'm gonna reach out to all the same people that Renee did and see if they respond.
Yeah, most of them. Hey,
Mr. Beast, will you be in my video asking me a question?
Hey, Mr. Beast, Jimmy. I skipped through it. I couldn't find where Jimmy actually said anything. I don't know if it was somewhere. I just assumed it was going to be near the end, so I quickly went to the end and I watched a lot of them. I thought I saw everything, but I guess I didn't. Maybe I missed it. Well, regardless, I'll go back and watch it. No big deal. I watched like 13 of them or something like that. All right, because I had to figure it out. I'm gonna figure it out before this.
I'm coming to Montreal. I'm gonna eat a bagel there, see what the hype's all about, and I'm gonna stare outside of Renee's house. I'll track him down. Like,
Toronto seems to be the move. That's where
I'll shout out a question on a megaphone. Well, Toronto and Montreal are two different places, Trav.
No, I know that, but I'm saying Toronto seems to be the move. Thinking about like the guy we met, and then of course Knoopsy and all those guys.
Yes.
Toronto
is filled with a bunch of very, 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 very talented people. I almost feel like maybe it has the same energy as California in a way. Maybe.
I love the idea of poutine. I've never had it. I would like to try it.
I had some the other day, but I know it wasn't the right gravy color, Renee. I know, so don't get upset at me. But it was good. Had duck in it. Duck poutine. How about that?
Oh, that just sounds fancy for no reason. Okay, let's kill it here. I got some things I need to do. I'll send you this file, ladies and gentlemen.
You got nothing better to do.
I got nothing important to do. There's a difference. I do have something to do. It's just not important. But regardless, appreciate everyone for coming through. Especially appreciate the creators who come through.
Appreciate Renee. I didn't really care that you didn't ask me a question. I'm not bitter.
We're not.
Think I would be bitter? Come on. I'm not a guy to I'm not the type of guy to hold a grudge.
Right. Yeah. Not
I've been in a video with the legendary Walt Mossberg, but not
That's true. It's never going to happen for you, Greg. It's
never going to happen.
Dang. All right. Well, look, we appreciate everyone who watches. We're looking forward to seeing you guys and gals next week. Hit us up on all the socials. We'd love to talk to you. And anyway, we'll see you guys and gals next time.
We will see